All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. So, what I'm going to call this is Are You Dreading What You Do? I've been seeing a lot of this year, and this goes for my family members, colleagues I used to work with, friends. I don't know if it's because we're in our 50s now, but a lot of my friends I should start off with who've been doing the same type of career for, let's say, the last 25, 30 years are spent. And I understand 100%. I have kind of been much different throughout my life, experimenting in many different industries. I've also been able to travel and do a lot of things that they didn't. But on the other side, a lot of them are different as far as stable, having homes that they've lived in for decades, some of them. And, a lot of us too having children, a lot of them are becoming also empty nesters, where I think a lot of them spent a lot of their time revolving their life around their kids, and now a lot of them are either in high school, they don't want to be bothered, it could be junior high, or college, or they're just gone. In general, they live on their own. And, I get it. It's hard. I think a lot of times how do I say this? What you think you love a lot of times at one point in time, or you think's the right career for you, may be. But 25, 30 years down the line, it may not be anymore. And I know everyone with their 401k and they got to retire, they have to all these things, and I'm not telling anybody to give anything up by any means. But I do think a lot of people do fall into a category where they're dreading what they're doing, but they're not willing to experiment trying anything else. That doesn't mean leave your career. I think a lot of people, and I talk about this, have a lot more time in their life, especially as they get older. They're just kind of caught wasting a lot of their time. Or they find themselves extremely bored and just doing things that are, redundant and not really accomplishing anything. I also think a lot of times, especially if you had family members or kids in your house and they leave and you're kind of independent, or you're a man or woman in your 50s or late 40s or whatever age actually, is you kind of jump onto something and you don't realize how much time it's taking out of your life instead of really figuring things out. It could be Netflix is a perfect example. It could be YouTube. So it could be, I don't know what it is. But when you start to have freedom sometimes can be wonderful for a lot of people, I realize, and it also can destroy them. I see a lot of men, I'll just use them, that get more freedom. Then they end up spending more time in a bar. Or they end up spending more time, I don't care if it's smoking cigars, or just wasting time. Right? Just sitting in front of the television. And then they'll complain though, they hate what they're doing as a career and they want to start doing something different, but they never do anything different. It's not an easy thing, especially if you want to start new hobbies, because as you get older, I think especially, is you've changed. You don't want to accept that you've changed. Your interests have changed, but either you're too afraid to go after your interest or you're afraid to try something new. And this, again, I'm going to go back to my friends. I don't care what profession they're in. If they're very successful in one profession, they're afraid to go even part-time or learn about another because they have to start over. I think they think they're going to look stupid. They're going to feel stupid. They're going to have other people maybe telling them what to do. So instead of going after that, they won't do it at all. They'll just talk about it for literally years. I can't even tell you how many friends I have from all over the country that told me they're going to start a part-time job, either on the internet, they're going to start a podcast, they're going to maybe do their YouTube channel, they're going to take on, a hobby as far as maybe collecting things, they're going to travel, they're going to start any type of side business, they're going to start working out, they're going to all these things and never get to it. But the one thing they can find what to do is shit, again, that they don't want to do. Now, I'm going to do a podcast, actually, like, why don't we learn from our mistakes? Because I'm one of those. I don't know why a lot of times what we're doing isn't what we want to do, but we keep doing it. So I just really wanted to bring this up because if you are somebody out there, if you have a career ready and you're miserable in your career or just miserable in your life in general, you don't have to quit everything you're doing right now, I'm telling you. If you want to write a book, take some time to go write a book. You probably have more time than you think. And you also probably don't want to Start from the beginning. I think that's what paralyzes most people. They don't know how to begin. Just start doing something. Because most likely, regardless what you do, where you start off is not where you're going to end up. Most people get exposed at the beginning. I kind of went through this with even my engineer, Omar. I've been telling him for a long time, I'm going to help you write songs. After the new year, that's it. That's going to be something I'm going to do. It's a new endeavor. When I was younger, I wrote some rap songs. We did it in the studio. I'm talking 30-something years ago. But I love his music. I did a video with him, and I said, hey, I'm going to start writing tunes. He's like, you're always telling me that. Send me what you got. I never send him anything. I write some stuff, don't like it, don't do it. I'm exposed. I don't want to do it. I'm saying I want to do it. I'm not doing it. I claim my energy is going to lead me that way. It never does because obviously I don't want to do it. Now, I'm going through this with my YouTube channel as well. I did a lot of videos the last couple of years. I only planned on doing like 10 or 20 a year. I'm probably at 1,050 because that's the type of lunatic I am. But when I'm done with something and I'm ready to try something else, I am a good starter and finisher. I'm not going to lie. It just takes me a lot of times too long to get things done because I kind of get obsessed with it. I don't know sometimes when to end. Let's put it that way. I'm not tooting my own for that reason. I'm not afraid to do something and fail at it. I don't care. Even when I wrote my books, you think I'd be on bestsellers list? No. When I made films, do you think my film's going to get into, it's going to be some huge distribution deal? Of course not. I'm not nuts. If I'm creating a program, or if I'm starting a clothing line, I know where I'm starting. Of course, you're like, hey, hopefully this will pick up and start building momentum and everything. But I love the process. A lot of people don't love the process because they're either afraid to start or they're afraid to fail. You got to understand, for the most part, no one gives a shit either way. But you can't sit around and always complain about what you're doing and not do anything else that you do want to do, or at least experiment. Because a lot of times people I know, and I'll just use photography or building a website or an online store, I usually get hit up a lot with that, with people wanting to do that, or sell things on Craigslist, or sell things on eBay. You got to learn how to take the right photos. You got to put the information up there. You got to write the text. You know what I mean? You got to, if you do find things to sell, or if you're going to sell your own shit, you got to box it up. You got to go to the post office. You got to have it picked up. You got to wait for the money. Like, what you're just kind of bullshitting yourself a lot of times, especially with photography. I have tons of guys wanting to take on photography. I'm like, photography couldn't be easier now. Just start with your phone. Start taking some great photos. See if people are responding to them. And even if they don't, who cares? Take photos. You don't have to go out and spend right now $3,000 on a camera, get lighting, unless you want to. Start at the beginning. Same with a podcast. I've talked about this with my co-host, Robert. Just start. Don't get nuts. Don't spend too much money, because what you think you want to do a lot of times, you may not. Or it may not be kind of what you want to keep doing. A lot of things can be short spurts, I tell people. You don't have to, if you want to write a book, it doesn't have to be 200 pages. I'm just telling you. If you want to make a film, maybe make a short film. I don't care if it's 2 minutes. If you want to start an online store or something, maybe just start selling things without the website and just kind of interacting, just independently through email. See if this is something you want to do. All right? So I just thought I would do a podcast on this because I just see so many people bogging themselves down. And what's even worse is they don't like what they're doing. They're not trying anything else new, or they try something and they fail. Then they don't know how to move on from there. So what? You're not a good photographer. So what? You made a short film. No one reacted to it. Doesn't mean you're bad. Give it some time. If you still want to do it, most likely it's no. They kind of got it out of their system. That's fine. Move on to something else. I don't care. I got one cousin who was amazing, actually, at this. And, sometimes people look at other people like, my God, he doesn't stick with anything. He's always all over the place. What's wrong with that? As long as it doesn't financially destroy you and you're not hurting anybody. I don't care if they may start off as a painter, and then the next thing you know, they like magic, and then the next thing you know, they like film, and then the next thing you know, they like designing whatever they're designing, and the next thing you know, they're designing their own clothing line maybe, or even it could be anything, a little hobby. They keep moving on. I think that's wonderful. It keeps your brain, kind of active. Don't feel like everybody else is going to look at you like you're a weirdo because you're experimenting, trying to do different things. Or you think, especially if you're middle-aged, like, oh, here's a midlife crisis. Like, you always wanted to fix a car up, or you want to start, let's just say, I have this with my friends. They want to start buying cars and flipping them, maybe even real estate, but they want to start, getting vintage cars or going to the auction or going to shows, go do it. Go do it. I go to a lot of car shows with my dad, and I can tell you right now, I have tons of friends who are always like, Rich, let me know the next time you're going. I let them know all the time, no one shows. And a lot of them love cars. A lot of them want to maybe even buy a new car. But if, don't just talk about it, do it. The oldest famous, that old famous saying, but please don't limit yourself, man. If you're miserable at what you do, too, in a career, and you keep going, no matter what career I see my friends in, or different people and colleagues, some are very wealthy, right? And they'll want to get out, and they're sick of it. And then I'll tell another friend about that person. They're like, tell them to stick in F for the rest of their life. They're making a killing. They're making all that money. I'm like, yeah, they're miserable. So is that actually, how does that work? I'm not telling anybody to quit their job. And then the person, then the other person who's doing whatever they're doing, they enjoy actually what they're doing, is what I should say, not making as much money. And I have a wealthy friend on the other hand saying, I hate what I'm doing. All I do is work and kill myself. How's the other guy doing? I'm like, yeah, he loves what he does. He's a musician. He gets to do this and this. He's not making any money. He's like, man, I wish I was that dude. He's got all the freedom. It's kind of funny how you look at things from different perspectives. But anyways, I'm going to wrap it up there. If you get a chance, definitely check out my website, richcelenza.com. All right, you got any questions or comments, hit me up. And even if you agree or disagree with me, I know I say some crazy things on these podcasts. I just kind of want to vent and get my opinions out there, I guess, to try to help people. And believe me, if you don't agree with anything I say, I get it. All right, take care.